a national and independent civil rights group, founded by some of the most influential black people in the country, has been set up to advance justice for Britain's black communities. The UK's first national civil rights organisation established to advance justice and equity for black people has been the Black Equity Organisation, BEO, was founded by some of the country's most influential black figures from the worlds of business, law, arts and social justice, including Shadow Foreign Secretary David Lammy MP, academic David Olusoga, Chief Executive Karen Blackett, business leader Dame Vivian Hunt and artistic director Kwame Kwei-Armah. It is hoped that this organization would have the same level of scale as the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, in the United States, founded in 1909 by black Mr. Lammy, who once practiced as a barrister, told The Independent, "We need a national civil rights organization dedicated to the struggle in good times, and as a young black man, growing up in the 70s and 80s was hard. I experienced everyday racism at school, from the police. I witnessed the growth of the National Front firsthand. Despite the despair, I hoped that the future could only get better for black people, but after the Windrush scandal, the Grenfell fire and other endless tragedies, it became clear that progress was too slow," the Tottenham MP said. After the death of George Floyd, black and white people Britons came together to show their frustration at the UK's shortcomings in tackling racism. "It is now time to move from protest to action. I am proud to be a part of an organization that will be at the forefront of the fight for racial justice and equality." The Black Equity Organization will be a symbol of struggle and hope for black people and their allies across this country as we take this next step in the fight against race. The BEO already has the support of some of leading companies including Sky and several of the country's foremost law firms. This comes a year after the government-backed Commission on Race and Ethnic Disparities, CRED, published a widely condemned report which suggested that institutional racism doesn't exist in the UK. By a clear contrast, BEO has been launched on the premise that systemic racism not only exists but plagues millions of people across Britain. Systemic racism, the legacy of historic policies and attitudes, means that 50% of black children live in poverty. Black mothers are 4 times more likely to die in childbirth, and at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, black people were 4 times more likely to die from COVID than white. Launched around the second anniversary of George Floyd's murder and the global wave of anti-racist protests which ensued, the BEO will focus on key areas where black people face greatest inequity, including economics, education, politics, criminal justice, healthcare and housing. Over time, the BEO plans to work with and complement the work grassroots, community and other charity organizations who have been tackling these issues for decades to bring about change. It will use all the tools available to ensure that there is equity for black people, including litigation where appropriate to challenge systemic racism through the courts, with appointed staff members such as a director of justice, charged with helping black people access legal advice and represent. BEO's chair of trustees Dame Vivian Hunt said, "We are proud to launch the Black Equity Organisation, the UK's first national black British civil rights. We are committed to addressing the full range of systemic challenges facing the black British population and will help both black and all Britons reach their. We respect and stand on the shoulders of the many grassroots organisations across the. We will convene and work in partnership with grassroots, national and ally organisations to deliver." BEO board members anticipate that there will be challenges ahead. However, board member Kwame Kwei-Armah told The Independent that the fact that the organisation has been launched is, in itself, indicative that the tide is. "This is a generational moment and history will note those who stood up and acted to dismantle systemic racism, and we will working with community organizations, activists and those outside the community to make it happen," the Young Vics artistic director. Second, history has shown that those in power are often behind the curve when it comes to social change. Black equity is no different. I'm not worried. The very fact that we are here is evidence that the tide is turning. In terms of other challenges, we know that change happens when we work together rather than those who in the current social climate, like to divide and. BEO knows when we make ground, there is benefit for everyone. So we will work in partnership with others for common goals, including working with government where possible to address issues affecting black communities. We know we are stronger when we act together. In addition to those named above, BEO's board of trustees also includes business leader Rick Lewis, social justice lawyer Marsha Willis Stewart QC, disability campaigner Michelle Daly, social entrepreneur Vaughn Field, barrister Miranda Grell and co-founder of Conservatives Against Racism for Equality. Its youngest trustee is 19-year-old former youth MP